And I believe with what he's shown me that's coming, that you need to have food supply. You need to have a storehouse. The Lord said, this is one of the things the Lord said to me. Brandon, you need to get your boat ready. You need to get your storehouse ready. You need to have this stuff set aside and prepared for your family. Okay? And so that's what he said to me. Now, for you, I don't know. Like I said, everybody's situation is different. I heard him say is have some cash on hand, have some food on hand, get some food, get some water on hand. He told me to have several weeks of bottled water stored up for my family. That's what he said to me. And I believe, like he said, I will take care of my beloved. He said, Brandon, I will take care of my kids. But what you can do is prepare for what you need. You know, I would say it like this. If you don't have anything and you don't have any money to go buy anything, that's fine. God's going to take care of you. But in my situation, I had some extra and I want to say, hey, listen, I'm going to get some food for my the five of us. I'm going to go, I have 3 kids and 2 adults in this house. And I believe, you know, if you could have a week, 2 weeks worth of food, it's smart. And go, well, you know, it's just going to spoil. If you don't eat it, you can alternate it out and eat it as you go and then replenish it, you know, canned tuna or whatever. He talked to me about having a car with good gas mileage that gets, you know, 35, 40 miles to a gallon. If you can ask your doctor for your circumstance about your medication, having enough medication, if you are on something that keeps you alive, having enough to get you through a week or 2 extra, just in case there's a shortage in that. I saw shortages of certain medications coming because of trade wars with China. Okay? So if you have to have some kind of blood pressure medicine or diabetic medicine or some kind of heart medicine or something, maybe you can talk to your doctor and say, listen, doc, I need an extra 1 to 2 weeks ahead of time. I'm not up here trying to scare you. I'm trying to prepare you that you should have this stuff in your mind to think we are in the end times and labor pains are coming even greater in the days ahead. Okay. And so I would just say, it's something to have precaution about, you know. I told you about having big screws in your doors. Some people say, what about our windows? I'm just trying to slow the bad guys down. I saw people looting houses and robbing homes in major cities. When the economy crashes, when things go to pot, I saw people acting a fool. Rioting. I told you I saw signs of people standing around saying we want our entitlements because Social Security was cut off for a while. Government funding, food stamps, things like that. It was bad. And so people were rioting, you know, and like I said, during the C word, when all those people were acting crazy for toilet paper, just think about the grocery store shelves. I told everybody that there was no food on the shelves. There was cobwebs, and it happened that fast. And they had to combine what was in one store from that store to combine it to another store. And it was a central location with armed guards. People were so you couldn't rob the grocery store. And that sounds crazy, but there was armed guards at the grocery stores. And people need to understand when you can't feed your family, people act stupid. If you're going to come in my house and try to hurt me, yes, I'm going to have to defend my family. But, you know, if you're asking for a cup of rice, I'll do what I can. But my family comes first. Whenever the Lord spoke to me and I saw this open-eyed, he showed me. He said, Brandon, Jesus told me, he said, Brandon, this is going to last and be a lot harder than what people realize. They are not taking it seriously. And he said, Brandon, this is going to be more of an extended time than you realize when this happens. And he said, this will not be prayed away. He said, there's going to be a shaking to waken. He said, Brandon, there's a humbling coming. And in this humbling, this will bring a great revival. People are asking for revival, but their heads are stiff-necked. They're arrogant. They're pompous. And there is a remnant of people that God is wanting to call. And he said, what is coming is not my judgment, Brandon. It is a shaking. It's a shaking. And he said, it will wake up the people, for they are asleep. Jesus said this to me. He said, they are asleep, and I will wake up the church. I saw brush harbor churches. And I looked it up, and I know it has to do with persecution. Okay. It's a touchy subject. I don't touch it, but it's just real. This is what I saw. But they built these things in the woods so that they can worship freely and not be persecuted by the people that were bad. It was like revival in rural areas. tents, like old revival like that. It wasn't like modern day mega church, big buildings. It was like brush harbor churches. They were like, that's the only way I can describe it. Okay. But they were having revival, but they looked like old Pentecostal, churches. How the women don't wear makeup and the buns are in the hair, and very, holiness, that's the way it looked. Okay. It wasn't, that's the only way I can try to describe it. And I know I don't want to ever cross the line and offend anybody, but I'm just being real with y'all. This is what I see. This is what the Lord showed me. Then the Lord showed me tractors, major, huge combines and big mammoth tractors, completely dusty, sitting in fields, not able to go. I saw fields plowed with no crops in them at all. And I thought it was just in one area. And the Lord took me above the United States of America. And from west to east, there was no crops in any of the farmers' fields. They were completely barren. There was dust blowing in the wind, and there was dust all around because there was no crops. I don't know why this was, but the tractors were not moving. And then the Lord said to me, there's no water. There's no water. And he repeated it 3 times. There's drought. There's no water. And then I saw individual gardens. In everyone's house, they had a garden of some sort. Whether it was small or large to feed a community or whatever, they had little areas in their backyard or in their front yard with tomatoes, cabbage, whatever they could grow. So, but it was like, a little patch of land, not huge, a little patch, just trying to feed their families. But everyone in their front yard or their backyard had some kind of growing something. Okay. And that's what the Lord showed me, was people were trying to live, trying to just keep alive, but trying to grow something. Okay. He showed me Jerome Paligan. And I saw him trying to manipulate that big membrane, that balloon that I told you all about again. He was letting the air out of the balloon, trying to not let it bust. But he was doing it slowly. He was trying just to try to control it. He was manipulating the balloon to keep it afloat as long as he could, letting the air out and blowing it in, trying to just manipulate it. And he was sweating profusely in this vision. And the Lord said to me, what you are seeing right now on this last week with the 2 trillion lost on Friday and the 1 trillion lost on Monday, he said, Brandon, this is Braxton Hicks. False labor pains that are taking place. The true labor is yet to come. This is false labor. And he said they're going to try to control it. And Jerome was walking in the middle of this valley. And it was a dusty dirt road. And he was walking on it, but there was a wall on this side and a wall on this side. And on this side, this person was there, and his name was Obama. And so I'll just say it. And he was there, and he was influencing, telling him what to do. I saw him in the background. Okay. And then over here was people in Europe. Okay. And they were very big businessmen telling him what to do. And they had interest in the American economy. And there was a group of men. It wasn't just one. Okay. Like I saw only one face over here. It was Obama. But these men over here, I could see them, and they were very evil men, but they were in business suits, very, with gold on. They looked very wealthy. And some of them had bald head with hair on the side. I saw, they were elderly men. They weren't younger looking. Okay. And then the Lord showed me Ukraine. Okay. And the money that was being printed for the war, they were doing something with this money. And I cannot go into all that. Okay. But they were doing something with this, preparing. They knew what was coming with the economy. And they were taking some of that money, and they were doing stuff with it. Okay. And that's where I'll have to leave that. But there was I'll just say this, there was a lot of corruption with this. There was no accountability with this. There was hidden agenda on this, on purpose. But he said, there's some of them that you've talked to recently that would be broke within a day. They're going to wake up, and everything that they've ever thought that they saved back, because they're not listening to me right, they'll lose it all that fast. I've called you to seek me. He said, put me first in this. It's time to separate yourself and come up higher. He said there's a lot of distractions with people. They're being distracted. They're not hearing for what's coming. They're not getting their boats ready. And he said, it's time to go back to the basics and the fundamentals of Christianity. What got you here in the first place? Stop swaying around with all these different distractions. Cut them off. Seek me. For in the days to come, it's going to require more of me and less of you. Staying at the foot of the Father. You will not make it being half Christian, half world. You are going to have to be all in. Are you all in? And so today he warns me to tell you there's a great shaking coming, and I hope you're ready for it. I don't know exactly when, the day it will manifest. All I know is that he said, I will provide for my beloved. I will take care of my bride. I will take care of those that are separated unto me. If you are seeking him daily and not just on Sunday, you're going to hear him for what's to come for your family. If you're supposed to relocate, I told you all, I saw big migrations of people going from place to place, leaving major cities, leaving towns that are corrupt, getting in a place of refuge, getting in a place that your family will be provided for what's coming. I do not try to scare anybody, because you may not have the means to move. But I believe with all my heart that God will put you in the path to where you're supposed to be if you're seeking him, and he will supernaturally provide for you. So I just want to encourage you all today. Don't give up on believing God for big, because he told me, I'm going to provide a Goshen for my people. I'm going to provide when it was dark. And this is what I thought was interesting. The Bible even says that whenever the children of Israel, whenever they were there in Goshen, that there was a dividing line of darkness between Egypt and Goshen. But it was so much so that you could feel the darkness. I don't know how much darkness that you're able to feel, but the darkness was so dark that you could feel it. So the Lord showed me that it's going to be a type and shadow of this, that the dark will be so dark on the world and the light will be so light on the Christians that we will stand out, that we will be the light and the salt, and that they will come for the revival. They will come for the move of God in your area because they're desperate. They will not know what's coming. But if you have ears to hear what the Spirit is saying, he will lead you and guide you into all things. He will show you the things to come, and you will not be caught off guard. You will be the head and not the tail, and above and not beneath. I believe that this is the time and the hour for us to shine light, for the light has come, and the glory of the Lord is risen upon you. If you will allow him to shine on you in these last days, if you allow him to shine on you with the great light of his holy presence and in the glory of God, by walking in love to your brother, I believe with all my heart we'll get the greatest harvest of souls this world has ever known. But it is not time for us to go home in the rapture yet, because he said it's one last call. One last call. Will you help me bring in the harvest? He wishes not one should perish, that all come to repentance. Will you serve him today? Will you follow Jesus today and get your boat ready? God is going to bring in one last push. Because why? He's a merciful God. People say, well, there's a great falling away. I never said there wasn't. When this happens, there will be a lot of people that called him Lord, Lord, that will turn from him and be mad that they're going through a hard time. Many will call this a great Ichabod. Many will call this a great Ichabod, but it is not a great Ichabod. He said, I will never leave you and I will never forsake you. Lo, unto the end of the earth. He said, I will be with you always.